everybody. It is Saturday, August 24th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host. I'm not in London, but I wish I was there. It is me, Jeremy Pierce, and today's show, All in 2024. One of the biggest wrestling shows of the year, one of the biggest wrestling shows for AEW will be going down tomorrow, and we will be making our predictions, previewing the card. It's going to be a good time, but for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. All right, so before we get to the 2024 card, we got to look at 2023. So last year's All-In was the first professional All-In and the second overall. Remember, the first All-In was the independent show that essentially launched AEW. But All-In 2023 took place last year at Wembley Stadium, where it's taking place this year. And the attendance was about a little over 72,000. That is great. It's one of the biggest non-WWE shows ever produced. It was great. But let's get into the results. So we had a couple matches on the pre-show. We had two. So first we had Better Than You, Baby. That was Adam Cole and MJF defending the tag team championships, the Ring of Honor tag team championships, against Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis of Aussie Open. And Better Than You, Baby retained. Then we had Hook defeating Jack Perry by submission in an FTW rules match to win the FTW championship back from him. Our opening contest was CM Punk defending the Real World Championship against Samoa Joe. CM Punk retained, and we know what all happened here at All In before the match even went down. We don't need to rehash that. Then we had a trios match with Bullet Club Gold, the team of Jay White and Juice Robinson, teaming with Konosuke Takeshita, taking on the Golden Elite team of Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. And guess what? Bullet Club Gold and Takeshita won that match. Then we had a tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships as FTR retained the AEW Tag Team Championships, defeating the Young Bucks. We had a Stadium Stampede match, because what's a big stadium show without a Stadium Stampede match? So with the team of Eddie Kingston, Penta, El Zero Miedo, and the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy defeated the Blackpool Combat Club and Ortiz. Then we had a fatal four-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship, with Saraya defeating the champion Hikaru Shida, Britt Baker, and Toni Storm to become the champion. We had a Coffin match with the Darby, Allin, and Sting defeating Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland. We had a singles match with Will Ospreay defeating Kris Jericho. We had a House Rules Trios Championship match with the Acclaim defeating the House of Black to become the new AEW World Trios Championships. And the House Rules stipulation that the Acclaim chose was there were no holds bar, which means it's just a street fight. And in the main event, MJF defeated Adam Cole, retaining the AEW World Championship. But that was a good show. I would probably say the women got the biggest shaft, as there was only one women's match on the card, as opposed to this year's show where there's three women's matches on the card. And a lot of things that went down on that show are kind of going down here. There's some of the same people on the card. Bullet Club Gold for this year. Bullet Club Gold, Hook, MJF, Jack Perry. Who else we got? FTR, Young Bucks, the Acclaimed, Britt Baker, Toni Storm, Darby Allin, Christian Cage, Swerve, Ospreay, Jericho. So like, they know what they're doing. They have their people. But let's get into this year's card, and we start with the tag team match on the pre-show 0 hour, as it will be Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii taking on Kris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. And the stipulation is whoever wins this tag match, the winning team gets to choose the stipulation for the following match 2 weeks later at All Out between Willow and Kris. So Willow and Ishii are part of the Conglomeration, which is a faction consisting of Ishii, Willow, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, and Kyle O'Reilly. Great there. And this match stemmed from essentially Kris turning on Willow and ready for her time to shine. And I've just dug it. These are two of my favorite women. Y'all know how much I love Willow Nightingale. And this has been a very, very good feud so far. Essentially what happened up until this point, well, the main point is that Kris Statlander defeated Willow Nightingale in an eliminator match to get a CMLL Women's World Championship match at All Out. So there's that there. As for this tag match itself, first of all, there's probably going to be another match added to 0 Hour. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But I think Kris and Stokely are winning here. They just have to get a couple more W's in this feud. Ultimately, I think Willow's probably winning the feud. But this is going to be a fun match. There's going to be comedy spots, especially between Ishii and Stokely. And then you're going to have the hard-hitting hosses between Willow and Kris. But take Stokely and Kris Statlander to win this match. And then let's get to the main card we'll start with Jericho. Chris Jericho defending the FTW Championship. That is the For the World Championship against Hook. And I know I'm not the only one who very much enjoys the learning tree gimmick. This is such a fun gimmick. And what we have right now is that Jericho wanted to help the younger generation. He wanted to be the one to kind of spawn things forward, and Hook just wasn't having it. And the ultimate crux of the storyline is, since Hook didn't want a mentor in Jericho, he actually ended up getting a mentor in Samoa Joe and Katsuyori Shibata. Jericho ended up taking the FTW Championship from Hook, rechristening it the For the World Championship, because he's all about the world. He has his stable, the Learning Tree, because that's what he is. He's the Learning Tree. He's got the Bad Apple and Brian Keith, and the Redwood and Big Bill. But this is going to be a fun match. I know a lot of people are souring on Jericho, but there are many more who aren't souring on Jericho. This match will allow Jericho to look good. Ultimately, this is tough because Jericho lost last year and Hook won last year. I think this is tough because part of me says Hook's going to win, but I also want to see the For the World Championship gimmick and the Learning Tree gimmick continue. I'm going to go out on a limb, right? And I'm going to take Chris Jericho to win with help from maybe the Redwood, and that will spawn the return of Samoa Joe, the return of Takeshi, who has come back, but a big return, getting these three together and setting up another match at All Out. So take Chris Jericho to win here. Next up, we got a coffin match between Darby Allin versus Jack Perry, and this is simple. This is a match between two of the pillars in AEW on the men's side of things. We never really discussed the women's pillars, but if I go out on a limb, I would say Mercedes, Willow, Kris, and probably Sky Blue or Julia Hart. But Darby teamed up with Team AEW to help them win the Anarchy in the Arena match, and during that match he was going to set Jack Perry on fire. That's how they won the match, and the Elite quit. So Perry did not take too kindly about being threatened to be lit on fire, and he sent the warning, and then Darby sent the warning by attacking Brandon Cutler. So after all of this going down, they decided, we're going to handle this. So Jack Perry is the current TNT champion. This match is for the TNT championship, and this coffin match is official. Now, when you have your specialty match in AEW, you just don't lose it. Sting didn't lose a coffin match. Darby hasn't lost a coffin match. it's going to be a weird day for the Elite because there are a couple matches on here that I didn't think would happen, but are kind of think would happen, but aren't on the show. We'll get to that later. But I'm going to go with Darby winning here. He just doesn't lose this match. This is going to be a crazy match, another stipulation match with them all for. I just think Darby's winning here. He's going to get that title back, and the title is important. Even though Jack Perry made it look good, he hasn't really had a lot of defenses. I just can't see Darby losing this Coffin match. So take Darby Allin here. Next up, we have the Casino Gauntlet. Now, this is probably the most interesting match on the entire card because we know some of the competitors in the match. We know Orange Cassidy, who has the number 1 spot. We know Kyle O'Reilly's in the match. We know Roderick Strong is in the match. I think it would be safe to assume Claudio Castagnoli and Kazuchika Okada is in the match. But it's all about the surprises. So first things first, if you don't know what the Casino Gauntlet is, think of it as a reverse Royal Rumble. Instead of wanting the number 30 spot, you want the number 1 spot because the match is only over when there's a winner by pinfall or submission. So the match can actually be over before all of the participants actually enter the match, which is really, really good. It's fun. So Orange Cassidy has the number 1 spot. We know who's in it. The question is, who else do we think will be in it? Well, Ricochet. I am going to go on a limb and say he's probably in the match. I think Bobby Lashley will be in the match. I think Michael Oku will be in the match. Part of me wants to say Simon Miller will be in the match. And if TNA wasn't working with the WWE right now, I would say Joe Hendry would be in the match. But he can't. That would be crazy. That would probably be the biggest pop of the night with the exception of one other person. But this is going to be a fun match, and the winner of this match actually gets a championship match, I believe, at a later date, because I think the Royal Rampage winner, Darby Allin, he gets the title match at Grand Slam. So I think the winner of this match gets the title shot at All Out. And another person I think is in the match who will figure prominently into the main event will be Hangman Adam Page. I also think Jeff Jarrett will be in this match. So the winner is going to be tough because, like, if I pick Hangman to win this match, that means to me Swerve Strickland is winning in the main event. If I pick Orange Cassidy to win this match, anybody can win. So this is very, very tough, and I don't think Ricochet is winning out. I don't think Bobby Lashley is winning. So I'm going to go with the safest bet in that I'm going to pick Hangman Adam Page to win this match, and I'm going to talk myself into the main event for the world title. But this is going to be a very, very fun match. It'll have a lot of surprises. It'll have a lot of just unique opportunities and storylines put together. Next up, we got the Trios Championship ladder match. This is a fatal 4-way ladder match with the Patriarchy defending against the House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, and spoiler alert, the team of the BCC, Willow, Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac. We thought Pac would have a one-on-one match here on this card. We know he'll be fighting for the International Championship, seeing how he is the number 1 contender, but he'll be getting that match at All Out. And this is a total toss-up. The BCC aren't winning, right? The story really centers around the the Bang Bang Gang, the House of Black, and the Patriarchy. The BCC and Pac are here just to be on the card. They're not winning, period. I could see the Patriarchy retaining as they really snuck and stole the championships, and the House of Black are really, really pissed. Now, the House of Black lost the Trio Championships last year. The Bang Bang Gang were also on the card last year. So I like all of these teams involved. Christian says he's using the Trio Championships to get a shot at the World Championships. He's going to elevate himself back up the card. In my heart of hearts, I think the House of Black is winning this match. In my head of heads, I think the Bang Bang Gang is winning this match. But the smart money is on the Patriarchy to retain. Seeing as how this is a ladder match, I do believe that stipulation really doesn't fit anyone. Maybe leaning more towards the House of Black, but then again, we have 4 horses in this match. We got Claudio, we got Brody King, we got Luchasaurus. We have 3 horses because the Bang Bang Gang does not have a horse. They're the wild card here. I wouldn't be surprised if they walked away as the winners, but I'm going to go with the Patriarchy to retain here. I think Christian just finds a way to just keep the championship. I do. I think he is sneaky enough to retain. Next up, we have the Tag Team Championships defended in a triple threat match, as it will be the Young Bucks defending against FTR and also against the Acclaim. Now, this is supposed to be a regular tag team match, but essentially it boils down to this. The Young Bucks aren't defending the championship because they're EVPs. Why would they need to defend them? The Acclaimed were number 1 contenders, and they were on their way to defeating the Young Bucks for the championships. FTR, as great as they are, disrespected the Acclaim and felt like they could just jump the Acclaim and get another match against the Young Bucks because they're great rivals. And the Acclaim was like, nah, that blatant disrespect will not stand with us. It just won't. Okay? So, after the Acclaimed lost their tag team title match due to FTR interference, we had a number 1 contenders match on Collision between FTR and the Acclaimed. That match went to a draw, so Tony Khan made a triple threat match. And I love the serious side of the Acclaimed. I love this way of them saying we can be fun, we can have a good time, but when we need to nut up or shut up, in the words of Daddy Ass, we can do it. And if that's the case, I am taking the Acclaimed to win here. Period. End of story. End of discussion. FTR doesn't need to win. The Young Bucks don't need to win. It's not going to be a good night for the Elite. It just won't. So take the Acclaim to win here. It's just going to be a good time for everybody. Well, it won't be a good time for the Young Bucks or FTR, but take the Acclaim to walk out of Wembley as your new tag team champions. Next up, we have the TBS Championship, as Mercedes Moné will be defending against Britt Baker. And listen, I'm putting it to you like this: Mercedes is winning. Period. End of discussion. End of story. The story we have here is Britt thinks she's the face. She thinks she's top. She thinks she deserves a championship match, and that's fine. She can get one. She's not on Mercedes level. Mercedes debuted Camille finally, and Camille is the great equalizer. I am hoping that Mercedes can drag a good match out of Britt Baker. And Britt's serviceable. She just doesn't belong in the ring with Mercedes. And I think it's going to be a good match. It's going to get some time. But ultimately, the funny thing is, we're not here for Mercedes. We're not here for Britt. We're not here for Camille. Every single person watching at home and in that stadium are very much expecting Jamie Hayter to return. Period. That's what we want. Jamie Hayter. I love Jamie Hayter. Do I think she's going to return? Yes. We haven't heard anything. When you don't hear anything about someone that's out, their return is imminent. And I think what's going to happen here is Mercedes is going to win. She's going to tap out Britt Baker, and after the match, Mercedes and Camille are just going to be beating her down until Jamie Hayter returns, which is going to set up a tag match at All Out. But take Mercedes Moné to win here. And their contract signing was really good. It was acknowledged that, yeah, Mercedes, you're a legend. You help move this industry forward, but that ain't you anymore. And Britt, says, listen, I'm different. You talking about I don't have a plan A, plan B. No, this is it. But take Mercedes to win here and expect the return of Jamie Hayter. Next up, we have the American Championship, aka the International Championship, as Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, will be defending against Will Ospreay. And this is going to be fun. A lot of this starts back to Will Ospreay injuring Bryan Danielson with the Tiger Driver and not using the Tiger Driver to finish matches off, right? And Max and Will had a classic for the International Championship with MJF. He stole that victory and he rechristened it the American Championship. Now let's get one thing straight. This is not about Max being an American. This is just a way for him to get booed in Wembley, because if he was a face, he'd be cheered. This is going to be a really, really good match. I don't think it's going to go the full hour, obviously, like it did on Dynamite. But the shots being thrown at each other, the barbs, it's stinging, and we see why MJF is that dude. We see why he has returned. This is going to be really, really fun. I just don't see Ospreay losing in Wembley. And the funny thing is, a lot of us expected him to be facing Swerve for the World Championship, and that's why we did the match at the previous two pay-per-views ago, so we can get that thought out of our brain, because we don't want Swerve to be a transitional champion. But Will Ospreay will be walking away as your new International Championship, getting that belt back. And I think that will set up a rematch at All Out. But take Will Ospreay to win here. Next up, we've got probably the one match on the entire card that has had the best build-up, the best storyline, and the best characters. And that is the AEW Women's World Championship, as Timeless Toni Storm will be defending against her former protege in Mariah May. All roads have led up to this. If you don't know, the crux of the story is All About Eve. It's clear that's what they're mimicking. And essentially the story of All About Eve, it's a very, very famous movie, is the starlet, the star, brings in a protege, and the protege ultimately usurps the star. The star is Toni Storm. The protege was Mariah May. And Mariah May won the Owen Hart Cup to earn this championship, and then championship match, and she completely turned on Toni, and it was bloody, and it was bad, and it was brutal. And Mariah explains that this is what she always wanted. She played Toni and she got what she wanted. And here's the thing. The only reason Toni is getting cheered is because, one, her gimmick has been very, very well done and she's really, really popular, and that Mariah turned. But you got to remember, Toni hasn't really done anything to be recognized as a good guy. She's been a bad guy all up until this point. But here we are. I'm sorry to say to a lot of people that love Toni Storm, she's not winning this match. This has all been set up to elevate Mariah May. And I'm personally going to make Mariah May one of the pillars, okay? So Mariah, Willow, Kris, Jamie Hayter. Those are your pillars of the AEW Women's Division. And Mariah May has earned this. And she deserves a lot of credit for really help elevating the storyline. And Toni Storm deserves even more credit for this character change that has been absolutely fantastic. I think this is going to be a really, really good match. Toni Storm is one of the best in the business, and Mariah May, even though she's young, has shown that she's very much capable of really bringing it. And that's what she's going to do. Mariah May is walking out as your new AEW Women's World Championship. Now, on to our main event. Swerve Strickland defending the AEW World Championship against Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson earned this match by winning the Owen Hart Cup for 2024. And this is the one match where I do not know who's going to win, where it is very, very hard to make a prediction. Essentially, Bryan Danielson's contract is up and he's ready to retire. He's not retiring. He's dialing back from becoming a full-time performer, but he's still going to be wrestling throughout the year, right? Kind of like Sting. Wrestle Dream is also coming up, and Darby Allin, Swerve, Danielson are all from Washington State. With that in mind, my thought process is that I could see Danielson winning and holding the belt till Wrestle Dream to possibly see maybe Swerve or Darby get the belt. I could also see Swerve retaining because Swerve has went back to some of his heelish tendencies, bringing up Danielson's family, saying that he's going to hurt him, saying that he's going to make sure he stays retired. And for Danielson's part, he's been questioned about, do you still have that fire? Said by Jeff Jarrett, it was said by Eddie Kingston, but we saw this past week on Dynamite that Danielson has said that what we all know, that he is the best wrestler on the planet and has been for the last 20 years. He is that guy. And when that Bryan Danielson shows up, when the American Dragon shows up, no one can touch him. Whose house? This is also Swerve's house, who has proven that, yeah, you can put the weight of the company on my shoulders and I will carry it proudly. And Swerve is not above reproach to get the job done. This is going to be a fantastic match. Period. The winner is so hard to decide, because part of me is like, Swerve should have a really long run as champion. But we also, as fans, believe that Danielson should get one last world championship run. And with the winner of the Casino Gauntlet sticking out like a sore thumb, with the winner of the Royal Rampage, Darby Allin, sticking out, it's a toss-up. Because Darby and Swerve has history, and if Hangman wins the Gauntlet, he and Swerve also have history. Remember, Hangman was like, yo, I will make sure to bury Swerve. But I'm going to go with my heart and not my head and pick Bryan Danielson to walk out the winner. I just think he needs one more world championship run. I just think he's earned it. And Swerve can get the belt back. Swerve is going to be at the top of the card for a very, very long time. So take Bryan Danielson to walk away as your new AEW World Champion. Let's go over our winners one more time. On 0 Hour, Kris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway to defeat Willow, Nightingale, and Tomohiro Ishii. Chris Jericho to defeat Hook, retaining the FTW Championship. Darby Allin defeating Jack Perry in the Coffin match to become the new TNT Champion. Hangman Page to win the Casino Gauntlet match, earning himself a World Championship match at All Out, I believe. I have the Patriarchy retaining the AEW World Trio Championships in the Fatal 4-Way match. I have the Acclaim defeating the Young Bucks and FTR to become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I have Mercedes Moné defeating Britt Baker to retain the TBS Championship. I have Will Ospreay defeating MJF to become the new American and then rechristening as back to the International Championship. I have Mariah May defeating Toni Storm to become the new AEW Women's World Champion. And lastly, I have Bryan Danielson defeating Swerve Strickland to become the new AEW World Champion. But let me know what you guys think. That is our show. Coming up, we've got our all-out preview. We got another list. We got Flashback Friday for next week. We've got our all-out predictions card, which I think is going to be really, really good. A really fun show. We're going to do Let's Talk About that. And check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course, the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Anna J, Willow Nightingale, Kris Statlander, Gigi Dolan, Bailey, and Isla Dawn. Holla at your boy. Peace.